Hey, what is going on, guys? Welcome to this special live episode. We're going to be talking Losi LMT. We've got Chris and Greg from Losi here with us, and we're going to have other people popping in who've had hands-on experience with this thing to answer some of your questions, answer some of them that I have here on my little sheet of paper. But we'll get going here in just a minute, so hold tight. We're getting everything ready on the back end, and anybody joining us at a later date, we'll put the time code in the comments down below and pin it so you can find out where to start. So let's do this. Seconds. Hey, what is going on, you guys? I am Tony from the CCxRC channel. If you're watching on Losi or Horizon Hobby channel, we're going to get this thing kicked right off for you guys. We have Greg Sopa and Chris Higa here from Losi, and we're gonna chat about the LMT. Like I said, I got some questions here for you guys that have been running around my head. I know other people in the comments have questions as well, and we'll try to get to those, and we'll be bringing in a few people here. We've got Kevin Hetmansky here already with us, and we have Doug Welker from Trigger King and Big Squid waiting, and some other people that are going to be jumping in. So, hey, guys, how's it going?
Good. Yeah. It's been a fun day. It's Monster Truck Day. What's not good about that?
Yeah, man, I've been following this stuff all day, so
it has been slamming. My phone has been blowing up. I've been texting with you, Greg, and getting this thing set up. But man, what a day you guys must be having over at Losi. What an exciting
day. Yeah, it's been busy. I mean, definitely, extremely successful day. This obviously is what, Chris and I and others have been, dreaming up for, the better part of 2 years as we finally got the pen to paper on this project. And yeah, it's awesome to see it finally come out, be able to talk about it, be able to share that excitement that we've had for a long time.
So you said for a long time that you've been working on it. How long has it been for you guys? What's this process been for Losi? I know things don't like snap your fingers. People want it and it comes to market. What's that look like?
And I think the first I heard of solid axle monster truck as a plan was maybe, well, let's say I've been at Losi 5 or 6 years now, and it was around when I started. It was, we have to make one of these, and that was the idea was kicked around, started maybe at least 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, and I've been here about 4.5 years, and I mean, obviously, Tony, you know me. This was my genre. That was my passion, even before I started at Horizon. So, for the past 4.5 years, it's just a matter of, okay, when's the timing right? Part of it too, I mean, we had the Habaco acquisition. Once we had that kind of got our foot in the door with Feld for the Monster Jam license. And, once that kind of fell into place, it was like, okay, let's start working through this.
Yeah. And so you already have a lineup through Axial. So what was it that said Losi wanted to do something, or what set it apart to do your own?
Yeah. So, the Axial SMT10 is a great vehicle, but if you're looking for a more performance version of it, there's a lot of things you need to add to it. Whether it's a brushless system, HD gears, different transmission, it starts to add up, especially even like wheels and tires, things as simple as that. So, what we were looking to do was find something that was kind of turnkey, out of the box, would be kind of competition ready, of, being able to keep up with, $1,000+ vehicles that guys are building as their own kind of custom creations. but have something that, Losi being our motorsports brand. I mean, Axial is really our kind of scale and crawling brand, but Losi is the true motorsports brand. So for us, we always felt like it was a natural fit. And I mean, Chris Higa has developed some phenomenal projects under Losi. Even things like the 5T, the Super Baja Ray, Chris is the man when it comes to anything that, gets bigger in scale and bigger in horsepower. So
I like using real tools.
Well, then I'll keep talking to you about a fifth scale one of these in the future.
We can definitely talk about that. And for me, like I actually did the SMT10 refresh when we went through that thing. From
which was a good refresh.
And it was trying to make, it was okay that, I was challenged with make it more affordable, make it a little faster, make it more fun to drive, but keep it affordable. And that's kind of what we came up with. And as I drove that thing, and I was like, man, I wish it was faster. I wish it did this. I wish it did that. And then they started talking about doing a Losi version. I'm like, well, probably do all that stuff when we decided to, kind of had a list when we went into it after being able to work on the SMT10, because the SMT10 was fun. I just wanted it faster. And
and that's one area that maybe I'm sure that question is going to come up, but the SMT10 is sticking around. We feel
that's
with
one question I had
this
on my
platform,
notes. Everyone's been asking.
Yeah, so with this platform, we feel that there's room for both of them in there. Where the SMT10 can be something that someone starts out with. Maybe you get a Losi for yourself, and you get an SMT10 for your kid. That's their first RC card. It's not very fast. It's got a little punch for brushed vehicle, but gives room to grow there. So that'll be sticking around. The builder's kit will be sticking around. We feel like the roller and the builder's kit, there's enough value between those two, because the builder's kit doesn't include the tires. The roller has the wheels and tires on there, which if you get those from J Concepts Pro Line, you're looking at $100+ for a full set. So we kind of are expanding the lineup because we feel like this is one of those areas in RC that is primed for growth, that everyone loves watching monster trucks, playing with monster trucks, and the Losi really, it does just about all of the tricks that you can do with the real monster truck, which Adam and Ryan were well versed in the video. Actually, most of that video is Adam and Ryan driving, so they're just as good with an RC monster truck as they are with the real thing.
Yeah, I was super impressed with the video. I'm like, I tried doing some of those tricks, and I'm like, how is he getting this backflip to moonwalk thing? I'm like, and I started off my wall trying to figure it out, and I'm like, okay, I can kind of get it, but I'm like, how's he doing it? So, like, there's definitely
a timing thing. You want that back end to hit just before, and it just pops. But it's tough to get it, and he got it like he had the timing down, the speed to get up to it, the right acceleration to get it to whip quick, because then you got to brake in the air so you're already ready to hit reverse mode.
Yeah,
and then let it drop and hit. I mean, but he was like on point with it like the whole time.
I was sitting there thinking, I'm going to call the Spectrum guys, and I want the crawler speed control settings in it, so there's no delay between forward and reverse, but then it doesn't have brakes.
Yeah.
So
it's
so it might be a good opportunity now to kind of bring in Kevin. We can kind of talk about the idea, and then just concepting it and that sort of thing. So Kevin Hamansky was also a big part of the project, and for a lot of people that know Kevin's been in the solid axle monster truck scene for a long time. And I was kind of joking with Kevin today because it was at Barry's 4-link Nats event in Ohio a few years ago that, at that time, Kevin and I kind of started talking about solid axle monster trucks and, making one with Losi. And Kevin's like, I got this great idea, this great concept would be great for, something to bring to market. And looking back, I told Kevin, I said, Kevin, today's the day, man. It happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, finally.
There, you're in. Audio's good. Perfect.
Yeah, good.
So, Kevin, tell us about your involvement here in this project, how you connected with all of them, and when Losi wanted to move forward.
Yeah, honestly, for me, it just kind of started with a call to Todd Hodge. We were texting about something one night while I was on vacation, and I said, "You guys really should do a solid axle monster truck." And then he gave me a call, and we had about an hour conversation about the truck. And he asked me to kind of write up in a way, a plan of what I was thinking, for the truck. And and I worked at Horizon before, so I kind of know the process that it takes to get from an idea to reality. And I also work at a magazine before, right? So working at a magazine, I can explain things really well. So I basically wrote up a recipe for the truck and gave it to Todd, and then we shared it with the company, and it looks like everybody kind of jumped on board, and then we went from there.
Yeah,
And
and
you started working with
when
Chris. Go ahead.
Yeah, it was kind of Chris, Kevin, Todd, myself. Train a bunch of emails, train a bunch of thoughts going off kind of the scoping document that Kevin had created. And I mean, naturally, once we had that Monster Jam license, that's another question that comes up is why Gravedigger? Why did we do Gravedigger?
Yes.
And part of it is we have the license, and and I'm a fan of all monster trucks, both Monster Jam trucks as well as independent trucks. And when you're looking at trying to bring something to the mass market, you want something that appeals to everybody. And if you could say, okay, what are two monster trucks that you recognize instantly by the name? Gravedigger and Bigfoot are probably the two that every single person will recognize. So having the license, that was just kind of a natural fit that we'll do Gravedigger. And obviously Son of a Digger, Ryan's been just picking up steam every time he gets on the track, so that was a natural fit to be able to do to have both Gravedigger and Son of a Digger.
Are there plans to do any more trucks? That's a question here from Josh Rhodes.
I mean, not on the books right now, but definitely always looking at other opportunities. And I mean, if I had it my way, we'd have, I'm a body guy, so I like to have 10 different lids for my two chassis. If
it was up to Greg, all I would be doing is bodies.
Yes.
Yeah.
I try to give Chris's priorities. I don't make a whole lot of.
Remember, you used to make custom bodies, so I believe Chris on that one.
Yeah, I don't make a lot of progress in influencing Chris's priorities, but probably for the better. But he knows I love this stuff. I mean, it was a year ago in October, we went to Las Vegas. There was a Monster Jam event out there, and it was the All Stars Challenge. So we were out there doing the 5T project on the Mid 400 course. Yeah. And then afterwards, we had gone to that event, and we're walking around, and Chris has the CAD up of the Gravedigger, and we're kind of comparing the CAD on his phone to the real trucks to try to make it look as close as possible to it. So it's kind of cool to see all that come to fruition.
So going back to Kevin, you got in and you got into the design process, yeah? And so what did you bring? I recognize some of this being in some of the groups, Solid Axle, Monster Mayhem, and the sideways motor thing is one of the things that I saw that you'd done before. And so some of the influence, what kind of things were you working with them on, or were they picking your brain on?
I mean, basically we took my truck that I designed, and I've been working on the design since about 2006. So, I figured out an axle design that was easy to machine and easy to make, and that was durable and easy to work on, and so on. I figured out a transmission design that I was happy with, and I worked on that, and sway bars and all these things, and I've refined them through the years to make it better and better and better. And I basically got to the point where I couldn't go any further because of how I'm able to make things, right? I don't manufacture parts. I'm not a big company like Horizon, so I can only do this with the chassis, only do that with the axles, and so on. So when it came time to actually starting on the design, I got to work with the designer himself, and it was basically he and I kind of went back and forth with dimensions. So I would tell him the width of my truck, the wheelbase of my truck, the gearing of my truck, send them pictures of the sway bars, all that stuff. And also I took my recipe that I made and I sent it to him too. So we kind of went back and forth on it. And then, Chris was involved and everybody else was involved when we got CAD drawings. We all threw in our 2 cents on what we liked and what we didn't like and what we wanted to change and so on.
That's awesome. You guys held out on me. Going back to something you said earlier, Greg, I had no idea there was a roller coming.
Got to
And
leave
I'm
some
so glad that
surprises.
there's one, because of all the people that don't know or that don't want the diggers. There's an awesome option for the builders and the guys that want to do everything custom in their way still, and they can customize these. So what? There's different elements in this too. You guys chose to put in a center diff. What was the choice or the reasoning behind that as far as performance? Because I mean, there's a couple things too I'll ask about too, like chassis things where you went for, it looks like performance, right, over maybe completely scale, but then you bring in scale in so many other cool ways that you forget about it in an instant.
So for me, my background is in a lot of racing and performance related things like that, and kind of driving the SMT. When I did this SMT 10 stuff, some of the things that it did, I was like, in my mind, I knew it would drive better with a center diff. I know it's not within a lot of the rule packages of some of the monster truck classes, but I said not everybody's going to race the thing, and it's going to give an overall better driving experience because the truck's going to recover a lot better with a little bit of power bleed front to rear. You can just do more things with the truck, but if we run a heavy enough fluid, that's why there's 500,000 diff weight in the center. So it's got some give to it, but it's pretty stiff. And it just allows the truck to do things that got a little bit of give to it. So it's going to corner better. It's going to, the way that it sets into a corner, the way it accelerates, it squats. Those things were really important to me. And also I kind of like the way it looks. So it sits in the travel. So when you ever watch the truck, it comes in, it looks like just like a real truck. It dips the nose and then it sits.
Yes.
And
we were just talking about that. I had it up at Hobbytown here locally for people to look at, and the dip is so nice. It looks so scale when it drives. The whole thing just all the way around looks super scale.
Yeah.
And the sideways motor,
it helps with
to
the torque
accommodate
twist.
diff, or
So
that's
it really pretty much eliminates the torque twist out of things. So, Kevin had a lot of experience with that. He told me that it works. We watched his trucks and we're like, okay, yeah, it works. So we kind of decided to go with that. And the one thing that we noticed too is with a slipper clutch, a lot of people either basically lock it down or they run it or they just it's never set right. So the center diff kind of eliminates the need to actually have to set it right. And then as a secondary factor, knowing that we were going to make a spool to replace that center diff, that's where that cush drive comes in on the outside, which is basically, it's a rubber elastomer. It's got enough give so when you land on the throttle, it's not going to kill the motor, the ring and pinion, the transmission, the drive axles. It absorbs the shock just enough. It's going to give that, 30, 40 thousandths of movement to absorb the impact and absorb a lot of that energy and not transfer it through the rest of the drivetrain.
That's why I haven't blown something out yet, probably.
Yeah.
I usually blow stuff out in all my trucks.
3S power brushless in my SMT10, when I didn't put anything in it, it didn't last very long. It did not like that.
So shocks on axle, what was it? Thinking performance again, what was the decision then to put the shocks on the axle versus on the trailing arms, which typically tends to have more of a performance-based setup?
I just like the way the truck looks with the shock on the axle better. And I pretty much am the type of person that will sit there. I will tinker with it until it make it work.
Yeah.
I will drill pistons, change oil, spring rates, until I get it to work the way I want it to work.
Which this is the best setup I've had for on axle. It lands really soft and it sticks landings, where a lot of mine just feel really stiff when it's on axle.
Kevin,
like this. So whatever you guys did.
How long did
I
we
haven't
mess
done
with
anything.
This?
Yeah,
Like 4 or 5 months?
Yeah, we messed with the shocks quite a bit, and that was the goal for me, at least, was to, there are trucks out there that have, shocks mounted to the axles, but the spring rates are never right. You can only use what's available, right? So we, in the manufacturing business, we were able to get the springs exactly right, and then Chris and I worked on the damping and we were drilling pistons and doing all kinds of stuff, and I'm really happy with how the shocks are and how they feel out of the box. It's really nice.
Well,
Yeah,
we've got some other people in here too who have driven it, so let's get them in to talk a little bit about performance, because I'm honestly blown away by it, especially for the on-axle shocks. I was, when I watched the videos, I can't even believe the stuff that this thing does and how it recovers and all the things that you're talking about. And I guess that cush drive is part of that. But who do we have in here? We have Doug Welker from
What's up, guys?
Trigger King, and we have Bari Musauer in here as well. So, who wants to talk about their performance and how they how it's been handling for them?
Bar, you go first.
Bari?
You want me to go first? I'm actually driving right now. Why don't we have Doug go first? I'm almost home.
All right, we'll put you out to the side for a second. We'll come back.
Okay. What's up, everybody? This is Doug from Trigger King RC YouTube channel, club here in St. Louis, and monster truck guy, Big Squid. Kevin, I've been driving your stuff for a long time, man. I wanted to tell you, my first ever paycheck I spent when I got my job at Bigfoot back in 2004 was on a TXT1.
Nice.
Still in my Tower Hobbies order history when I started my account.
Hey, I got a TXT1 too. That's weird.
Anyway, so with this truck, man, I mean, we're blown away by it. All the testers, I've driven monster trucks for so many years now, and even in my own personal fleet of race trucks that I race every month, I've got clods, I've got custom built shafties, I've got modified SMT 10s, pretty much everything. And to just pull it out like this, and I mean, we did like nothing before doing the review on this. It was pretty much pull it out and put the batteries in, and it was like dialed right away. And our testers, again, we're all kind of just jaded, I guess, at this point. We just driven a lot of monster trucks, and so we just figure, okay, let's see how this is going to be. And I mean, we were blown away, just smiles on our faces the whole time. I think, as you guys were talking about earlier, the way it sits and like the attitude of the truck, I think that's the real difference. It has the weight, so it feels when it's
word for it. The
attitude. It feels hefty, and but not like a heavy truck, I guess, in a bad way. It feels like a monster truck. And when you're hitting those corners and hitting your marks with it, and in the Big Squid review, I wrote about this specifically, the throttle rhythm. It feels like this truck, you need to run it like an actual monster truck, where a guy like a Ryan Anderson, right? I got a son of a digger here. He's high on the throttle. He's got like the Anderson throttle control. If you drive it like that, it is so much fun. And once you start to hit your marks with that, it's just a blast, like burping the throttle like that, keeping it up in the RPMs. And in the video review, my friend Danny, he spliced together part of the it was Adam Anderson in the Legend truck drifting with this truck drifting. We spliced them together. Man, they're like smoking across the parking lot. It is like dead nuts. And my friend Bob, who was also in on the review, he's a chassis builder even, and he was just really impressed too. It's just it was a lot of fun to drive this truck. It just feels like it's finally nailed for the first time ever. And I've liked a lot of the other trucks that have come out before, but it just feels like this totally changes everything as far as solid axle monster trucks go.
Yeah, and Chris, maybe you can attest to this, but I remember when you guys first got the sample in California, and I think you got the team out there driving it in the parking lot. And I mean, these are guys that drive RC vehicles every single day. They're constantly testing stuff. It takes a lot to get guys to start hooting and hollering. And the first report I heard back was all the guys were out there just like laughing and smiling and having a good time. And I think for any of us that drove it, that first time that you had it, you were just like, oh wow, this is a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's always a good sign for us, is that, like I said, just like anyone that works in the industry or has driven a lot of trucks, you are a little bit jaded. So when you pick up something and it just puts a smile on your face, and you're like, that thing's cool. You're going, okay, we're on to something here. And then I think it was, was it I think it might have been in January. That we had Ryan actually come up to the office to come look at it. And this is before Greg had even seen the truck. So I sent Greg videos of Ryan driving the truck before he has even seen it in person.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
And Ryan, like, his initial thing was, he's like, oh my gosh, look how real it looks and how it moves and how it sits. And So I said, all right, this is a guy that actually lives and breathes real monster trucks, his RC trucks, and you're going, okay, we're definitely on the right path. So.
Yeah, you talk about the rule package and everything at Trigger King. We normally have, we've been having, I don't know, 100, 120 trucks on just a club race every month. And so immediately we're figuring out, with rules with this, we're going to be tweaking some things, obviously, to fit this in there. But that center diff, the people that I've seen complain about it haven't driven the truck yet. Because it just, again, it feels like you're getting the benefits of the locker in a lot of ways without having to run all the way around. Like when you put lockers in an SMT10 or even a quad, like some of our guys do for the freestyle trucks, they're just hard to control, or they'll go over, or, and then completely open is not as good either. But these are nice with those sealed diffs. So you can really tune it. And I haven't really got to start tuning on it yet because I've been trying to do this review stuff and get everything out. And I can't wait now to start to pop it open and start really tuning this thing up. But
the guys that want a locker, they can go much heavier in the diff oil. They make 1 million, 2 million weight. They're super, super stiff. And like I tried to find the best balance that was drivable, and to kind of what I felt was drivable, and driving it around my test track and things like that. So it was, to me, the truck felt really, really balanced, and I kind of gave Kevin the setup, let him drive it. And he, Kevin gave good feedback. You want to kind of chime in on that, Kevin?
Yeah, I drove the truck in multiple areas. It wasn't, I got my track too. I ran it on my track, ran it in my yard, ran it on a baseball field, tight dirt, loose dirt, pavement, you name it, I did it. And then every time I got done with a battery pack, I would come back. And again, being at the magazine for all those years, I write up a novel every time of what happened and what I think and what we should change and everything.
Yeah, it's been handling super awesome with the center diff. I haven't actually noticed it a whole lot. Like, some people are like, oh, it's going to be such an improved turning. But it's still a monster truck, right? So there's only... Where I feel the turning is like the amount of steer that you get with this thing is unreal, because you're not hitting the links, just kind of the geometry of the way that everything's built in order to allow you to have so much throw with these. I'm hitting my yoga blocks, so I'm not getting all of it, but tons of throw on it. But tell us about the wheels and tires. Somebody was asking me about that, like as far as performance, people that have driven it, how do you guys feel like these tires handle out of the box? I thought they were pretty good, but we're on pretty loose dirt, and these big, thick treads have been pretty good in that.
Well, yeah, Kevin. Go ahead.
I was going to say, Kevin, that might be good. Kevin, maybe you want to touch on the wheels first, because I know we had several conversations just about kind of the short course style wheels, and then Chris, he can kind of get into the tires a little bit.
Yeah, so my thinking on the wheel was kind of like, let's do something different, right? Because when you have a monster truck tire, you have a very tall sidewall. And when you have a tall sidewall, you have a tire that's going to walk side to side, especially with a truck with, 3A scale diffs and all this weight in it. So the idea was to do a short course style wheel package, so you reduce that side to side flex. So you have, the one side looks like a real monster truck, has a ton of sidewall, it's awesome. And then the other side, where you don't really see it, sort of, has a much thinner sidewall to reduce sidewall flex. And also, too, by the way, the tires have a bit of a firmer compound. And one thing I found was that they are great for bashing. They really do a good job of soaking up imperfections around the yard and so on. And I'll be honest with you, I would run these even in a race, depending on the surface. If it's a loose dirt surface, these tires seem to dig in really well. And don't forget, a little bit of weight is good because it adds lower center of gravity, makes the truck more stable. So I would totally even run these in a race.
One other question while you're still up here, Kevin. You put other wheels and tires on yours as well.
Yes.
So how do those fit on if people want? Because that's another question: is how do you fit on other tires if you don't want to do this?
Well, they're going to have 12 mil hexes. I got a Proline tire here. This is the one that I was actually running on my prototype, and it ran great. I was able to bolt it up, no problem. Chris Higa, you'll know about this too because he told me about it. But the center hole, you do have to drill it slightly because the threaded portion of the axle on the LMT is a little bit bigger. If you don't drill the hole slightly, in the slightly larger part of the wheel, Yeah, you're not getting it off. So you're not going to damage your wheel. You'll still be able to use it on other trucks. You just need to open it up just a hair to be able to get it off. But and this one does have an offset to it. Some people were asking about a 0 offset wheel. I threw one on really quick. I didn't have a lot of time today to mess with that, but I do have one that I want to try. So I'm going to put some 12 mil hexes back on and try a 0 offset wheel to see what goes on. I mean, I just kind of put it up quick. It looked like it's going to work, but I'm not 100% sure.
Does it make the stance a lot wider, or with the way you had it set up, was it about the same width?
It looked to me about the same, but I didn't really check that. I just wanted to make sure that the tire bolted up and that everything ran fine. And obviously, don't forget too, if you have a different tire diameter, you do have to change your gearing slightly to make up for that.
Cool. Chris, were you going to speak to the tires as well?
Yeah, so with the tires, same thing, kind of just a performance issue, and then also it allowed us to do a little more things with the placement of things on the spindle, where the 4-link bars will contact the axle, because you end up having a little more clearance. The other thing you're allowed to do when you use that short course style wheel is you can actually get the pivot point of the spindle closer to the center of the wheel so that it doesn't have a real big scrub radius in the corner. And that's where I think you notice why the truck turns so well, that the wheels don't turn on an arc. They actually turn on the kingpin. And the same thing with that performance issue of, kind of minimizing a little bit of that sidewall flex, is where that short course wheel really helps. You still have a lot of sidewall and you still have a very large foam insert inside. So that's why the truck lands well. You still have all those benefits, but the tire just doesn't fold over as bad.
Very
and
cool.
and that seemed to be the thing I read the most of, that people were kind of back and forth on. Of some thought it was cool, some hate it.
Yeah.
But it's like anything, right? You can't make an innovation and change something unless you're willing to make that change and put it out there and let people try it, and then they can make the decision for themselves.
What about the links on the bottom of the axle? Is that, as far as the choice for that? I heard some people asking about that too. I never thought anything of it. It never raised a question mark with me, but some people were asking about that, if it's going to break off if you hit a rock or something. But we've beat these up, hit trees, hit a bunch of stuff, and no breakages there.
Yeah, part of that is the scale thing. I mean, that's how a monster truck axle is built.
Yeah,
is the link is on the bottom of the axle. It's when you're using like that AR60 axle out of an SMT10, it came out of a crawler. Well, in a crawler, you didn't want the 4-link bar hanging below the axle because it just hangs up on stuff.
Yeah.
So the other thing it does is it allows you to run a longer bar without changing the wheelbase, because now the axle mounting point is half an inch, 3/4 of an inch further forward, and it helps with some of the stability.
Trying to go back.
We didn't find any problem with it.
Who's that, Doug?
You'd have to hit something pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, how did you find the steering and the wheels and everything, Doug, in your running? I know you guys have all different kinds of stuff you've run.
Yeah, that was one of the things that really got us too, was how just typically if you're going to race a monster truck, you have to mess with the steering. I mean, a Clod is atrocious out of the box. It's amazing that Tamai hasn't updated that to where you have to go to the aftermarket. And then you have, the SMT10 isn't bad, but you will, if you put bigger tires on it, you'll have the knocking sometimes, the rubbing, and in racing that can be problematic. This has a ton of throw, and you just zip it around. There's no issue at all. I mean, no clearance issues, and the knuckles are good. Even the servo felt good on it again. I felt if it was our season, I would race this. That's I guess the problem. We just ended our outdoor season, so now we have the trucks, and we won't be racing for a little while. But I would race it out of the box, no problem.
One of the questions that people were having, and it's one of my favorite things about this truck, are the axles, because we get that look now, that scale look of the axles. Is this something that people are going to be able to pick up and have as aftermarket things as well? So if you want to do 4-steer or things like that, could you buy a whole nother housing of front axle stuff to do for the rear? That's another
Yep.
question people
Yeah.
was asking about forced steer.
Yeah, so axles will be available, you know, as well as the different components. So once we get them in stock, obviously those are on the shipment with everything else. So yep, those will be available.
And
Just
while
like
you're
that.
up here, Greg, how does this fit in with the whole Losi Motorsports Tour? Is there something you guys are looking to do with monster trucks and the Losi Motorsports brand?
Yeah, so we just launched the Losi Motorsports Tour last week. You know, started off kind of focusing on U4 racing with the laser nut and you know, the Ray platform, and the next step in that is going to be doing the monster trucks. So I've been, you know, in touch with Doug and a bunch of the other groups regionally around the country that you know, really, and that's one thing that attracted me to the genre of RC monster trucks is, you know, this grassroots style racing and freestyle where, you know, people get together, and a lot of these guys I've known for years that, you know, we go to, you know, whether it's the No Limit race out at Digger's Dungeon, or, you know, Trigger King race or Freestyle RC race, you know, SoCal monster truck guys. We'll go travel to all these events, and you get to know each other and you get to see. I mean, that's where I met Kevin in person, because, you know, our time didn't overlap at Horizon, but you know, so all these regional groups, we want to find a way to help connect and kind of showcase everybody's events where, you know, if someone's new getting into this, which we have a higher likelihood of that happening now than I think we've ever had in the history of, you know, RC monster trucks.
You've at least brought the price point down for entry.
Yeah.
Competitively. Yeah.
Yep. So that way you can get a truck if you want to find other people to race against, do freestyle against, and have some fun and get to know some people. You'll be able to find those all around the country. So that is really the vehicle that's the Losi Motorsports Tour, is building this community of kind of grassroots style RC racing where, you know, it's based around fun, because you know, you get some really good drivers, and, you know, they get their trucks dialed in, and they're awesome to watch race. But a lot of us, when we go there, you know, we're there to have a good time. And, you know, like when Barry does his 4-link Nats event, he'll set up, the last time he did it, you know, he set up a mirror track behind it so you can kind of practice, and people are having just as much fun practicing as they were racing. So that's really what we're setting out to do with the tour, is, you know, highlight all of these regional events going on, and have kind of a destination for people to go to find them easily in one place.
That's cool. Adam Anderson just says he just got your email or just saw it. And it's like, you guys are live. I just sent him the link. So we'll see if he pops in here or not.
Nice.
Just texted it to him. But that's awesome. And this, go ahead.
Looks like we got Mikey on here if we want to bring him in. So Mikey's got a roller that he built up. So hey Mike, how's it going? Can you hear us okay? Mikey on here if we want to bring him in. So he's got
we hear the echo. Can you hear that you're in here? You gonna drink your coffee?
Not bad, guys. Yourselves?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I got two different things going on. I got to shut one
Got a
down.
delay. Yeah, there you go. So you got
Can you
one of
hear
the
me?
rollers I didn't know that even existed. Yeah, we hear you.
Hello?
There we go. I think that's better.
I think I got you now.
So
Tell us,
you got one of
drive
the
a real monster truck. How does this compare? Does it feel like driving a real one as
Hang on.
much as it can?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, what was the question? Sorry. Okay, I think I'm dialed in now.
I was just asking, you drive a real monster truck. How does one of these kind of compare as far as the feel and the look of it? And I think we lost him.
Oh, we lost him.
Adam's trying to join in, though. Let's see if he gets it.
Now, Doug, I know you need to cut out. Do you have a couple minutes, or do you need to cut out?
I'll have to cut out in just a second. I got to be on another one to talk about the same truck. Thank you guys. Just it's good to talk to everybody here, and appreciate the love for solid axle trucks. Losi, everybody's going wild over this, and I think everybody's going to go wild over this and continue. So I know a bunch of our guys are excited.
Yeah, thank you, Doug, and Big
awesome.
Squid and Trigger Kings. We appreciate everything you guys do for the RC community in general, but also the solid axle monster trucks as well.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, Doug.
Yep. See you, Tony. Thanks. See you, everybody.
See ya.
So it looks like Adam's trying to get in here as well. I don't see video yet for him, but
should we see if we can add him and at least have his
see if
audio?
you can talk to him.
Yeah.
Turn the fan off.
We'll wait. He's got a fan going or something. We'll wait till he jumps in. Mikey was talking about how in one of his videos he was kind of comparing it to his real truck, and the day was so busy for me I didn't get to watch the whole thing. I was watching, but I was doing another thing at the same time. So I was curious what he was saying about that. So there he is. You hear us?
I think he's muted.
Yeah, you're muted.
hang
You
on.
got to unmute yourself. It won't let us unmute you. That way we can. All right. You there?
Oh, we got video, no audio.
Yeah.
I don't hear audio.
All right. Looks like we
Got
might
Adam
have.
though. Adam's there.
What's up, guys?
Hey.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. I was just I'm literally standing in my skivvies. I just noticed that you guys were live. I had to run out. My entire family's sleeping. I just ran outside through my front yard in complete pitch dark, and all my neighbors are probably watching me think somebody's breaking into my house.
Nice. So, Adam, while we've got you, it might be good. So, Adam was one of our star talent drivers in the video. So, Adam, Ryan, Tony, and Kevin all did the shoot a few weeks ago for the video. And I got to say, first off, you deserve an Oscar for the acting because excellent job you guys did acting there. Very well done, very very professional. But what were your thoughts when you first tried the truck, and as you were, how's it compared to like a full scale monster truck?
In all honesty, I had my doubts, but then as soon as I drove this thing, man, it was unbelievable. And Kevin had designed the deal with the motor being mounted the opposite way, and now I know why. I understand why. And the truck, honestly, then I thought to myself after I drove this thing, I'm like, man, maybe we should do this to a real monster truck. This kind of makes sense now. I'm like, I'm no geologist, but this works. And it was pretty unbelievable. The biggest thing for me is durability, man, and it's not only for myself, but like I said in the videos, and that my kids play with these things, and I don't want to work on them all the time. Part of that is fun. I do enjoy working on them and building trucks, and which you get that opportunity with like the roller and stuff like that. But at the same time, I just want to enjoy them. And that's all I did. I literally just sent mine out, and I'm very sorry, Greg, but it's because I didn't want to. I don't want to send them out because, you guys wanted them back to make sure everything was checked out good on them and see what wore out. Well, nothing was wore out. The OG grave digger from the chute was still good, and I had to give it back, and I really didn't want to, but it was pretty unbelievable, man. The durability of it, when we did those bus jumps, and Tony, it kept making me do it over and over and over again. I'm like, well, we got 2 more trucks if this one breaks, and nothing happened. We jumped a school bus, and not like there's one portion of the video that shows us jumping down a little bit, but we did it like we cleared this thing and landed to flat like 6, 7, 8 times, and it was okay. And it's like, Okay, all right. I guess we can just keep driving it.
And some took wicked tumbles, like it hit and then just barrel rolled and tumbled, and I was like, oh, there goes an axle.
I know it. Nothing, man. Nothing. It was awesome. You know, I was honestly, I'm kind of intrigued as to what is inside of everything. And the only one that we did get to see the insides of is the one that we ran over with the 14,000 pound monster truck. So I kind of could peek at the gear set and stuff like that to see what is this thing made out of. But you know, there's already so much. I have been working. I'm moving right now. And like I have zero, normally my shop is packed full of RC stuff. I have nothing in there at all except for a sink. And, but I was just laying in bed. I had to get out of bed because I hear there's so much hoopla going on the internet right now about these things. And, you know, there's good, there's bad, there's haters, there's this, there's that. But I just want to guarantee to everybody, you know, they can hate all they want. It's because they're jealous. I'm telling you right now, dude, it is like, you know, I don't care if it's Gravedigger, it wasn't Gravedigger, it could have been whatever truck, that this thing is unbelievable, unreal. I kept texting Greg. I'm like, dude, this thing is just sick. And I think it's mainly because it didn't break and it was so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, Adam, you kind of touched on it, and maybe you could give us the play-by-play on how exactly did that truck get run over?
I want to hear this story.
Yeah.
I do want to hear this.
I thought Kevin was a way better driver. I thought Kevin was a way better driver.
Come on, man.
Ryan, Kevin was Ryan's
He's
stunt
throwing
man.
him under the bus.
Yeah, Kevin was Ryan's stunt man for the day 2 of the shoot, and he was just not that, you know, quick on the trigger, I guess you could say. I set him up for failure, man. I did. And we kept trying to get closer and closer to the trucks I knew the shot that Tony wanted. And when we're doing this, and I mean, I got the shot that we needed. You know, I ran into the back of Kevin, turned him, spun him out right in front of the truck. And you could see, like, last minute, he's trying to get out of the way. And it was just, because every shot we did, we would get closer and closer to the truck. Because we told the kid that was driving the truck that day, I'm like, look, dude, and we didn't want to run it over, but like, don't worry about it. Just don't worry about it. We got to because he kept like stopping when he couldn't see the trucks. I'm like, just don't worry about it. We got to get this. And we got it.
Yes. Well, there were some epic moments right before the crunch that were used, and the crunch was good for the end. I think that it means you won, honestly.
I think so too.
My comment is with what's going on in the latest of our Losi videos. If we don't run a car over at some point, we probably weren't trying hard enough, because we hit a car in my Super Baja Ray video. I think Ryan and them hit one in the Laser Note video, or they sank one. So this is up to par. That means it's a good video.
Yeah. It was very
And I told them that. I'm like, I just watched this video and they crushed a car in it, so it's okay. They're not going to get mad at us if we accidentally hit it. We got to be right, like, because the tires have to look ominous. They got to be like big on that thing.
That means you were going for the money shot. You were going for the shot.
Well, we really did. I mean, it took a couple takes, but we got it. We definitely got it.
But Kevin, it didn't turn out so bad, did it? Like the end, it didn't crush that bad. It was surprising.
Yeah, no, and just for the record, I thought the monster truck was stopping. That's why I slowed down.
I told him not to stop. I said, do not stop anymore.
He listened. Yeah. He kept going. But
I was going to fire him.
Yeah, in the end, it looked like it was really bad, and really it wasn't a whole lot broken on the truck. You know, typical stuff. The axle housing, I think, broke and sheared some rod ends, but I think that was it. I got that truck sitting at my store right now.
Yeah, it was amazing to me to be run over like that, and I expected for the chassis to be folded over, even the cage piece, all that stuff, and it was zero damage to any of that stuff. It was mainly just the axle housing, but you're going to have that when that was the ride truck, which is like legit 14,000 some odd pounds. Just murdered that thing out there.
Yeah. So one thing to note is we did a video on the Losi Motorsports tour where you can actually see a little bit more behind the scenes on that. So if you're interested, join the group on Facebook, and then you can get some of that access there.
We've got Bari here as well now too. It looks like he's not driving anymore. We can bring him in too.
Yeah, there we go.
See what Bari's take on this thing is.
Hey,
What's
Bari.
up? Hey, what's up, guys?
Nice shirt.
Hey, see there, I was doing my errands and I was prepared. Just like Adam, I'm moving still, trying to unpack this house before Thanksgiving. So me and him are on the same page.
That's awesome.
So Bari, why don't you tell us? You had one of the test units for a while. Got to mess with it. Why don't you tell us kind of your thoughts? Initially, and then as you started messing with it. So I know you pretty much. I got a nice clean test truck back because you pretty much tore that down completely and put it all back together.
Well, you almost have to when your test truck comes from Josh Zimmerman from Freestyle RC. It's like you have no choice but to tear it all the way down and bring it all the way back up. I'm kind of like a clean freak, so I like stuff to be clean. And I was like, man, I can't work on this thing with it like this. So I cleaned it up. I even put some graphics on it, so the Gravedigger body wasn't blank on the roof and on the sides. And man, it was just so much fun to drive out of the box. It was just like, all right, this box has been all over the country, you can tell, and I had to retire it with me. So, man, we had a good time with it. My son absolutely loved driving it, and it literally is the best solid axle monster truck out of the box in history. There's nothing better. I've driven them all, and this is the one that is going to break the internet when it comes to our niche market. It's going to turn it into not so much of a niche market anymore, I feel. Where it's just going to be a mainstream. Yeah.
The names.
And that's the thing. I mean, we've always kind of talked about this and, how much we love solid axle monster trucks and kind of the scale realism of, driving those versus an independent suspension monster truck. So once people can, go out, watch Monster Jam and then go home and, try to do those same tricks with an RC vehicle and having one that's capable of doing it just adds to that level of fun and excitement.
For sure. This is one of the most scale looking trucks that has been released. And it can handle the abuse, obviously, from being run over by a real monster truck, and a ride truck, that's a heavy truck. So that's a testimony in itself to be able to withstand that. But we've driven the test unit and it's withstood everything we threw at it. And man, I can't wait to break open these production models. And my son's birthday is Saturday. So I'm really excited for that, to see him be able to drive. And we finally got room in the big backyard now. So there'll be a lot more videos to come.
Nice.
So what is your favorite thing, Bari, that you saw, when you started driving this? What stood out to you about the truck that makes it different than the other ones coming out of the box?
Honestly, just there's a lot of different elements to it that just make it complete. As far as the flip top body goes, where you can access everything really easily, that was a big thing, especially for my son to be able to get in there and work on it with the dexterity he has. He's 6 years old, and he was able to just, get in there, plug it in, turn it on, and away we went, where it's a little tougher when you don't have that access. So that alone right there was a big thing. And then just the drivability of it. I mean, it's got so much power. And yeah, it's on 3S especially, it's just ballistic, but it's controllable. So especially for, my son who's 6, which it's really not advertised for, but he's pretty good. He was able to handle it. So that really shocked me because I'm kind of hesitant about letting him drive anything that's, over 2S. But he really did a good job. I was pretty proud of that moment. And the drivability, the tunability, and like I say, this was one that was kind of, had been through the ringer. and it took everything. And we went through and changed a few shock positions and just did a few different things, and everything we did, it was like the truck, it never lost its edge. And I think a lot of people are gonna be really happy with this one.
So, Bar, when are we going to see a zombie body on yours?
Oh, it's coming. That roller that I got, it's definitely going to be a zombie. I got a body already lined up for it, and we'll see. I might be able to knock it out tomorrow. My goal is to have the body ready so we can just, put all the electronics in it and just be running it on his birthday. So I'm sure his reaction is going to be pure gold. Now, I'm hoping that he doesn't like diss me and want the Gravedigger one instead of the one we actually built, because he's been known to do that. He did that to me at World Finals in Orlando when they were interviewing him live when I was racing Gravedigger, and they asked him, "Who do you want to win?" And he said Gravedigger. So yeah,
I love it.
yeah, it was great. So we'll see. Maybe being 1 year older, I've tried and convinced him to be on my side now.
Nice.
We need to see you and Adam, do some kind of an online competition with these things somehow.
Oh yeah, Adam's
some
scared.
kind of a freestyle,
Adam's scared.
man.
He doesn't want any.
Oh, you hear
I
that?
can tell. Yeah, he's scared.
Wait, you're breaking up. And it's not even scared. You're breaking up, and I
Look
really
at him.
wanted to
See,
hear
he's
the
in the
smack
dark.
talk.
He's scared.
I'm walking around the dark.
Yeah.
No, I'm walking around the dark looking for service so I can talk smack back.
We've been going back and forth. The first smack talk was with Ryan in Dallas, and so I figured I had to give Adam some too.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Well, you got to do it on the course, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
Take the trucks out there and compete
I'm the polar opposite of Bari when it comes to stuff. Like my truck, was the one, and mine was the one for doing the video shoot and all this stuff. And then mine is like gets thrown in the bed of the pickup truck. I have absolutely not taken one part or piece off of it. It has not been cleaned. The one I sent you, Greg, that one.
Yeah.
So it's got the all natural North Carolina dirt on it from the video shoot. Also some from my backyard. It has my dog chased it and bit the windshield. It's got a hole in it. Just all the natural stuff that really happens in real life. I put it through all the real life tests, and it passed. And but we are terrible bashers. Like, we make people cry. They build these beautiful trucks, or we get these beautiful. and Tony's the same way. That's why I love Tony, because Tony and sometimes, like, he's a really good driver, but because he's always trying to video himself, he's always running into crap. So, like, my favorite one, you ran Bari's right into a tree or something. Wasn't that Bari's truck right when you got it?
Yeah.
I love that. It was so hilarious.
It's they're meant to be run. That's what I say.
They are, for sure,
Yeah.
man. And I'm stoked for them to come out. And I'm already I do not argue with anybody online about anything. Nothing. Zero. I don't do politics. I don't do sports. I don't do even my own racing. I don't do. I was already arguing with people on this thing, vouching for this truck, because I don't want people to think it's a sales thing. I really was. I'm like, what am I doing? I got to stop. I have to stop and get off here, because they just don't even know. They don't even know, because I don't want them to feel like it's a sales pitch. Because, I mean, yeah, it is a sales pitch, because I know that this investment that they're going to make is going to be a good one. But at the same time, I've done it all, man. I've built the full-on custom ones and had 1,000 plus and multiple trucks, and you're getting this out of the box already. I'm just amazed by that, and I'm excited for it, because it'll be, and even the workability of them and stuff. Just looking at them, and I can't say they're simple, because there's a lot to them, but at the same time, the simplicity of being able to tune on them, like Bari was saying, I'm really excited for all that stuff. And not only for the Gravedigger thing, I honestly want to build other trucks too. I like building custom trucks, and so having the roller, I'm really excited for that.
Not being a salesman, though, so you're not on a sales pitch, but I saw some people dogging on the price a little bit. What do you think about the price point coming in at $600? Being somebody that's built a whole bunch of custom ones and built up trucks.
I think that I think they just don't realize how much money, maybe if they even have a truck that they've even spent that much money on it. I don't think they realize how much money they do spend on one, and then it's still not durable enough to do what it needs to do or perform the way it should perform after you spend that much money on it. You know, to get something out of the box like it is, it maybe it's just a little bit of a sticker shock, but it's honestly not. You think about all the stuff when you really add it up. If you buy a truck, if you buy a ready to run truck, then you want to upgrade it, change the motors. Then once you change the motor, then you got to upgrade this to keep up with that. Then you want these different tires and wheels. Then it's just a vicious cycle. Not to say that you can't do that with this truck, but I feel this truck is durable enough that you're going to be doing stuff aesthetically to this truck, in very minimal tuning. That's just going to be their choice. But to have something, I'm just excited for the durability. I cannot get over it. I can absolutely. I mean, we have run into stuff. I just cannot believe they're still lasting. And I don't.
I watched
even
your kids
honestly know
drive them
why.
too, man. they got beaten one night.
Yeah, they did. They did. But that's the best part about it, is like that can be done with it. You know, and prior to this, there's never been any other solid axle monster truck that you could purchase that would withstand what we've already put them through. And I mean, stuff's going to happen. You're going to run over stuff with monster trucks, and stuff's going to break. But at the same time, it's taken a lot, man. I'm just I'm proud to stand behind this product, and it makes it easy, because I even told Greg and a couple of other guys before. It's like, people think that, yeah, okay, this is Gravedigger. They come to me with an issue about something, a toy, and I'm like, I didn't build this thing. I'm not, I have no clue. But this is honestly one that those guys, not that we didn't design anything like that, but they had a lot of questions, and we were there to help in any way we could. But these guys, they really put forth the effort to make the best solid axle monster truck possible. And so it makes it easy to stand behind a product that basically has your name on it. So now I am going to pretend that I built every single one of these trucks in my garage.
He's an elf, a Christmas elf. All right, we got Mikey here,
Yeah.
and I know that he's jealous that you're standing outside, Adam, and he's freezing up where he is.
It's getting chilly. Starting to get chilly.
I'm freezing too.
Yeah. So tell us, man, you got the roller. I haven't seen it yet, or seen one yet, or didn't know about one until yesterday. What's it like? I'm just keep digging Greg on that.
I definitely did want a Gravedigger, that's for sure. So
Whatever, dude. Whatever.
It's good to see you again. It's good to see you again, Adam. It's sad our tour got cut so short.
I hope you freeze your,
I got the clothes up here, man. I got the clothes. I'm ready for it. Bring them in the wintertime.
So what's it like running it? I saw you built it up, put the Spectrum electronics in it, and you were ripping.
The thing runs great. I spent a week before I actually filmed it, so I just stared at it on my workbench for days and days, just going over it with a fine-tooth comb, just trying to find something that I could, just pick on. And I really was taken back of how much homework you guys did, like the geometry of the 4-link bars, the accurement, the roll center, how your low center of gravity. When you look at the truck, not much sticks up over the top of the tires, just like a monster truck. We want to keep our weight down low. A lot of similarities that way with the truck, and the handling is phenomenal. You can just yank that thing into a corner as hard as you want to, and it's super stable, and really no worries of it tipping over.
What about mounting a different body on it? That's a question that somebody had earlier that I missed. I just wrote down because I remembered it, and
I actually zip tied my body on. I actually zip tied that SMT10 body on for the video because I was in a hurry. So I was like two zip ties. But I have JB Scale Graphics sending me a body with a wrap just for this truck. So I'll get into that later.
Okay. Very cool.
So you're gonna do a video on that then, Mikey?
Oh yeah. I want to tear the truck down. I want to paint the chassis plates blue and things like that. Start customizing it.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
What did you like about the handling? I saw you hitting a bunch of jumps, and you were just hitting anything in front of the truck. Basically, you just like boom, sky.
Yeah, Exactly. That's what a monster truck does. It goes over anything you want to go over. And this thing basically does the same thing. And we were talking about, you were talking about that center differential earlier. And I was so happy you guys put that center diff in because I cannot stand slipper clutches, guys. And that center diff is awesome, especially when you're wanting to bash it, freestyle it, and beat the hell out of the thing. And that's what that center diff is. It is key.
Yeah. Yeah. It performs different. What was that? Was that Chris?
Yeah.
What were you saying, Chris?
I'm feeling validated because I was questioned on my want to put a center diff in the truck.
Well, I like how you guys stuck it in. The accessibility of everything is pretty awesome. As far as how you've got everything tucked in here to get in and actually work on the truck is really easy.
Yeah, and that was one thing yesterday. So, I mean, we tore down the photo truck to get the photos that you see on the website. We got a lot of those detail shots. We had to tear the truck down. So Scott Kramer, who's on my team here in Illinois, he threw it all back together yesterday, and because it was broken down into basically the roller format. And he's like, it only took me about 10 minutes to throw all the electronics on it. He was dreading it, and then he's like, actually, when I did it, it wasn't too bad. So there you go, Chris. Another shining review on getting it assembled.
Yes, that flip up body is beautiful.
Oh, so yeah.
Now, Mikey, did you put the body over the cage, or is it without the cage right now?
No, it's got the cage and everything on it. It slipped down over it perfectly. It's just I didn't want to drill any extra holes in that body that I didn't have to because it's still going to be on the SMT10. So it fit over it just fine. I mean, I thought the body was a little small at first, but the more I look at it, the wheels stick out in the front and the rear just a little bit like a real monster truck. So I like the body, how it sets on there. I didn't know what you guys were going to think, like, promoting Son of a Digger and Grave Digger, and here I am put my own body on here.
No, man,
that's what it's for.
That's the thing is everybody makes it their own. Yeah. And, I tested out probably 8 or 9 different bodies that I had in my garage. I'm not sure how many of those are still in production or how many of them are discontinued, because I like to collect bodies just like Barry does, just in case I have a project for it someday. But I threw them over the cage, and all of them fit. I mean, I even tried the Max D, the old SMT10 body, and that one fits over the cage as well. So that all worked out. So now I can put that together in a roller and send it to Adam. So I can put that next to the Grave Digger.
So if somebody's asking about pictures or on video, or like the one with Adam and Ryan unboxing it, it's sitting on that table in front of them. It looks massive, but it's really not wheelbase not that much bigger, or it's very similar actually to the SMT10, right?
Yeah, the wheelbase is pretty close. I think the SMT10 is maybe just slightly, fraction of an inch bigger as a wheelbase. But we kind of struggled when we're looking at what do we call this for scale, and to kind of put it into terms for you, it's a 10th scale solid axle monster truck, meaning 10th scale to the full size monster trucks. But it's the same as when you have like heavy construction equipment for like RC. You might have like a 24 scale like dump truck, and it's still huge. So size comparison wise, the wheelbase of this truck is the same wheelbase as like the Arma Notorious. And the drivetrain is an 8th scale drivetrain. And it was built that way to be beefy to be able to handle this kind of performance. So we've always kind of struggled of do we call it A scale, do we call it 10 scale, because I mean it's really, compared to other RCs, it's kind of 8th scale by design as far as the amount of performance and beating that it can handle.
Yeah, the 8th scale diffs are huge.
Mm-hmm. I had a few people in my comment section on my video today. They were kind of confused because I said 10 scale in the video and people seen 8th scale somewhere. So I kind of wasn't sure what to say. I'm pretty sure it was 10 scale, but then I guess there's, like you said, the 8th scale gearing and the drivetrain and things like that.
Yeah, we kept the wheelbase at the 10 scale just to try and fit within everybody's rule package. So it needs to be 13.5 or 14 inches maximum wheelbase, and I think we're right around 13.5. But the key was to get the A-scale drivetrain as far as the diffs and all that stuff in there, knowing that guys are going to put big power to them. They're going to run them on 2S, 3S. You got a tire that's potentially 4 inches wide. It's got a lot of surface area, and they land on the throttle. It's just, it's hard on the gears. It's hard on the drivetrain. So that's why the A-scale gets in there. So it's a 10-scale wheelbase, but it's an A-scale drivetrain like
That's the first rule of monster truck school is do not land on the throttle.
Yeah. See, now you got N, which is probably going to mess people up. Right? Because they always say monster truck power out, right? Isn't that the rule? When in doubt, throttle out?
Well, that's how much you're puckered up.
Yeah.
So here they're saying that Danny Moss is saying that the scale, all the time the scale feels off to him, and he said this is the first one where he considers it to be a true-to-scale body to the truck itself. It does feel good on it. Because it does keep that form factor of the big wheels that we put on the SMT10s, but it does make the body a little bit bigger. It doesn't make it 8-scale. I think I might have been the person calling it 8-scale because I didn't have a body for this one. And I was chatting with Kevin in a video, and I think I was actually thinking it was going to be 8-scale because of the diffs and everything that I'd seen in it. So I may have started fake news on the LMT here on accident.
Way to go, Tony.
So maybe my bad. But so what's the wheel and hub dimensions, and are they true bead locks? Is a question we're getting from Easy Install.
The bead lock, it's a fake bead lock, so it's still a glue style wheel in that short course style. The wheel hex is 17 millimeters. We went with because we went with the short course wheel, it allowed us to use a bigger wheel hex. With the type of power we thought we would be putting down, I just wanted more surface area onto the wheel so that you're not going to strip them out. But the center hub is replaceable on those. There is a 12 millimeter plastic composite hex that you can swap out into the wheel, so you can run our short course style monster truck wheel on anything with a 12 millimeter hex. But I believe the outside's 2.6, and I think the inside is like 3.7, 3.8, something like that. I'd have to measure one. I don't remember exactly off the top of my head.
Yep. Mark's asking if it has a center diff. It does. We mentioned that. Gravedigger Legend would be another easy option. Same body, different color. Yeah, so if we can get these bodies, if there's a clear option of these coming, is that something that you guys are going to be offering?
There is a clear body option that will be available for both the Son of a Digger and Gravedigger bodies.
Sweet.
And they will also, you can also get them in the printed up decaled versions as well.
Yeah. Doug, Citizen RC, who has an awesome Instagram channel and is also on YouTube. If you guys haven't seen it, definitely subscribe to him. But he's asking to explain or touch on the Cush drive system a little bit. It's been touched on, but it's such a cool thing. I think you can mention again.
Yeah. So
about how you're teaching people to drive wrong.
Yeah.
Land on throttle or whatever. Yeah. You're just saying.
It's pretty much
bad habit.
Yeah, it can if you drive a truck without this, it probably can teach you some really bad habits. So what you have is a rubber elastomer system that's keyed into the gear and the outside cam, and what it does is it basically absorbs the shock from the drivetrain when you either land on the throttle or just impacts and things where the wheels are allowed to free spin, or when you get the truck off the air, and the instant shock of the wheels hitting the ground is what breaks stuff. And the whole thing is it doesn't need to move a lot. And that's the big thing is you're just trying to get it to absorb enough of the impact that it doesn't transfer all that load to the ring and pinion or the idle gear and break stuff. And that's what that rubber elastomer Cush drive does, is it absorbs enough of that shock where it just makes everything so much more durable.
Yeah. We're going to get ready to wrap up here soon, guys. I do want to hear, we got a really great panel of people in here. So maybe we'll just go down here and let you guys just kind of mention something that maybe you haven't heard talked about, or a takeaway from this truck that you'd want people to know about as you go. And I do want to point out, somebody asked about mine and what this metal bar is. This is not here. This is aftermarket. It doesn't come on it. This was a pre-production truck, and I had a workaround that I was doing with it. So it's just a Freestyle RC servo saver arm, basically, from the servo instead of the short one to the steering link here in the front. That's all it is. But you guys, we'll go down the link here. Are the diffs in the front and rear open or locked? Mike Eaton.
The diffs are open, but they come with 100K diff oil in them.
Okay.
So they're all fully tunable.
What about dual shock options? Can you mount dual shock on these?
Not right now. I'm sure if I looked at it long enough, I can probably figure out how to make some pieces and parts that would get it to work. It's just a matter of tinkering and a little bit of machine time.
Josh Rhodes, I saw that. When are Adam, Barry, and Mikey going to come down and let me beat them on the track? Josh Rhodes.
Yeah, I've seen him drive. I got that covered.
Come on.
The rest of them don't even need to show up then. Huh? You take them on.
I don't know. Adam is the king of trash talk.
Losi's asking, how hard would it be to make a rear steer?
So the axle housings are the same. Just the rear axle has a lockout that basically gives you on the truck. It comes with a 3-degree toe in, but we give you the 0-degree rear lockout for the axle. Basically, you would have to change the front spindle carrier and put the universals in, and get the servo mount. And it's the same axle, and you can put rear steer into that truck.
Nice. I will want to do that to one. Chris Olson asked, does the roller come with wheels? It does, and the cage.
And tires.
You just don't get a body. You get the tires. You just don't get the body or the electronics, but it's a full-on roller with wheels and tires, and you're good to go there.
It also has a little the driver insert with the safety seat and all that stuff in it. So full cage with the interior. Just no body.
So Kevin Hitmansky, let's start with you as we wrap. You helped in the design of this. What would you want people to know about this truck as somebody who's worked for years and years and years on this truck? What would you want them to know if they're looking to buy one of these?
Well, for me, I think one of the most important things is that this truck is kind of an out of the box. It's a universal vehicle. If you want to race with it, you can race with it. If you want to bash with it, you could do that. If you want to freestyle, have fun. And all the adjustments are there to fine tune it for each one of those things. But right out of the box, you can totally do any of those things and have a blast doing it. You know, quite honestly, there was a race recently that I wanted to get to, but I couldn't because of this whole COVID thing. I would have raced the truck bone stock and probably would have done okay, you know, and that's something that I think is pretty awesome. But then, you know, there's tons of adjustment there, and you can fine tune it and make it even better for one thing if you want. And it's unbelievable to me that you have so many options.
Barry, what about you?
I want to touch on the price point. You know, like Adam said earlier, I mean, $600 for a truck like this is unheard of, to be able to customize and build a truck, because I build a lot of trucks for people, and those dollar amounts add up quickly, and you're well over that price of this truck, which is probably the most capable truck it can hang right with. Out of the box, it can hang with those $1,500 and $2,000 custom trucks, no problem. So I think this is probably the bargain of the year when it comes to RC monster trucks. And man, I hope you guys have got a full stock, Greg, because I think the first wave is going to be gone before you know it.
That's all right. That's what we're going for. Get it out there, get everyone to have one.
Adam
What's
backed
that?
out on the question. Adam's checking out on the question. I'm calling him out.
I know he's been put on the spot, so he bailed on us.
Hey,
I
saw a
told you
question
he was
pop up here.
scared. I told you.
Kevin
talked has
Talbot
been a
is in
trash
here.
about Josh, and I was like, all right, I'm out.
And,
Hang on, guys. Real YouTuber in the comments here in the chat.
Big YouTuber. Kevin Talbot says, any plans to make an X-Max size one?
Not currently that we have, but I mean we're always looking at other options. I mean, if it's a big hit for if it's big hit
What's
and
an
the people
X-Max?
demand it.
Yeah, I'm going to have to talk with
You
Barry
mean a
about those
Creighton
giant.
8S size one is what you want. You want a Creighton 8S size one, Kevin.
Oh yes.
I mean, I think Barry's already got
Yeah,
his design.
that's more
right
like
there.
Adam
we
says,
just got to put that into production. We're good to go.
I mean, that is in my
Yes.
wheelhouse because I do
Right.
like big cars. So
we would love it. Adam is saying that he has crap service. Tell everyone I love them. I could have
So
said
speaking
anything
of
I wanted,
Barry's
Adam,
fifth
but
scale
I read
there.
it just like
all
you
right.
said.
Love you too, Adam. Scared cat.
All right, Mikey, what
speaking
about
of
you?
Barry's
What would
fifth
you
scale,
tell?
Me?
Oh, we'll go back to you. All right, go to Greg. We'll come back to you, Mike. Think about something
so
you
real
tell
quick,
people.
I know that the MTXL wheels and tires were out of stock for a while, but those should be back in stock or close to it. So those of you that were waiting for Barry to build you a truck,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Barry
They're
can
there.
take the time out from unpacking to build some fit
They're
scales.
there.
if
I've
anybody
ordered
needs
them.
one.
I'm gonna order another set to have in stock
Yes.
as well.
Yeah. We just got to get Mike Hess to make those axles again.
There we go. Everybody just start messaging him. We'll be good.
It's and let me just say that it's a Losi built, many Losi parts in it, Spectrum, at least in mine, electronics, and it's an awesome. I mean, the amount of power that Barry put into that thing is dangerous. First of all, it's a very dangerous truck. And yes, Adam, I did run into a tree 2 minutes after I put batteries in the tank, trying to do I saw how much power it had for the wheelie, so I just went for it and didn't plan in braking, and I had not tuned the ESC to stop. And it's heavy. It's like 40 pounds, and it hit the tree pretty good. But I think it did more damage to the tree than the truck. But it's an amazing build that you put together, Barry, and you guys will be seeing it doing some wicked stuff with backflips and all that coming here. So,
What's the price? What's the price on that thing, Barry?
did he freeze or is he?
Oh, he froze up.
To be frozen.
Is it? Okay. I
think he
didn't know.
left.
Didn't know if
He
it was my
left.
phone. Or...
No, he's
I
dodging.
think you just pulled an Adam.
I was just curious on the price.
All right,
I mean,
Mike, what are you thinking, man? It all depends on parts and availability because we had to work on getting mine. It was basically cost of parts and, a few extras for chassis and stuff to be built and things like that and build costs. But, just parts alone, you're looking at like 3+.
yeah, that's the ballpark. I was guessing that area.
Yeah. I say quietly.
just under the table say that. Yeah, no, completely beautiful build though. I was super
$300.
very impressive.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
but so what do you think? Somebody that is looking to get into solid axle monster trucks is looking at this. What are your thoughts, takeaways? Even compared to other bashers, I think it's pretty strong. But what do you think?
Yeah, that's the world I come from is bashing, as you see the trucks behind me here. So to get this was, I was a little surprised. I never really got into, when I was growing up, I was into the Clodbusters, but then as like the bigger trucks came out, I got into those. So to go back is kind of my childhood with these, watching these scale trucks drive, and for having one out of the box, like Adam was saying, once again, all the parts, once you get into all of it, how many thousands you could be into it. So like you guys said, price is right on point, $600 RTR ready to go. And for how tough it is, I mean, I was watching your bashing video earlier, Tony, and I couldn't believe it. Some of them hard hits, you were diving right into the face of another jump, something that would fold a 4-link in. I mean, it was just sucking it up. And so after I watched you do that, I took mine out and started beating on it. I was like, hell, I don't have to worry about anything.
Well, I just did that to show people how bad it could take a beating because I don't usually drive that bad. So.
I was curious. But I wasn't going to say anything.
It was all for the video. I cased that first one like
But-
right out of the bat, like show you guys how you can do a whole run, and then I just slammed the front end into it in the backside of a jump. Ugh.
Very impressive, guys. Beautiful work, beautiful engineering, and can't wait to see what you guys have in the future. Any upgrades or anything for it. So definitely going to play with this thing and tune it up.
Thanks, Mikey. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Greg, what are your thoughts? You've been working with this a long time. You're
Yeah, I
bringing the
mean,
monster trucks.
For me, the value of it for the price. I mean, I'm a basher at heart. Anybody that's raced with me knows that I'm, not the best racer. I'm definitely, Tony and I are in the same area where we like to just go out and bash it, and every once in a while you hit a tree. But that's part of the fun of it, being able to wrench on it too. But to me, this is if 4.5 years ago, like I said, when I started, if I could have dreamed up kind of the perfect monster truck as an RTR, this would have been exactly it. I think we hit on all points that we wanted to. And again, I've said it before, hats off to Chris, hats off to Kevin for all of the work that went into, the thought behind it. I remember there was a comment right kind of when people were starting the rumor mill was going about us coming up with a solid axle monster truck, and someone put in one of the comments, and one of these monster truck groups that I've been in for a long time and have many friends, they put in there, I wish that someone would just pay attention to the market and what we want as people that are in the solid axle community, instead of just coming up with something and say, oh, here's a solid axle monster truck. We tried to listen to everything that was going on in the market and how it was evolving, and very similar to your old school real monster trucks compared to what they are today. I mean, they're completely different machines from what they were in the 80s, and that's what we tried to do as we evolved this. I mean, the value that we put into it, and everybody that is in the solid axle market, whether it's from like an old school retro clod to some of the other great custom chassis that guys are creating and axles and stuff like that. There's room in this genre for everybody, and it helps everybody have kind of a custom way. But hopefully this gives us the door to get more people interested into it at an easy point of entry to get started.
And Chris, I'm going to come to you, but first I'm going to answer a question from Cody, and you guys can jump in here too. He's asking what bodies fit the LMT. Most of the ones that they sell for monster trucks already will fit on here. You can remove this cage, and there are body posts that come in the box with it, and they mount right in the front here or in the back of the truck. There's parts to put those body posts in, so you can mount them up and put whatever body you want on. But also you can use, for some of the bodies, you could mount and drill these holes in if you want, and actually use this cage system with the truck, which is I think what Kevin did with his roller. And you can do that up pretty easily if you do it while it's clear. And Kevin, you want to speak to that, the easiness of that?
Yeah, so it's right there behind me. I'm kind of connected with this cord, but yeah, I have a roller. And the body I put on there with that green flame paint job is a truck from the old school Losi LMT and associated MGT days. So it was a body the Pro Line had out, and I found that it fit very well. So I just mounted it up to the cage. I used the 2 side holes or side mounts, one on the roof, the 2 on the roof and 2 in the bed, and it bolted up perfect. And then this one right here is a trail truck body, and that's using the body posts that come with the truck. So it's just a Pro Line trail truck body, Ford Raptor. Gave it a custom paint job, threw it on with the body post, and it looks great, and it fits the chassis well.
Cool. Chris, what are your thoughts now that this thing has become a reality? You've worked on this a lot.
Yeah, it's been
hours put into it.
Yeah, there's been lots of nights that have been up late talking to the vendors, and there probably would have been multiple trips overseas had there not been COVID. I think for me, it's like, we went through and the price point and all those things were, that everybody mentioned were really important to me. I think the one thing I wanted people to was get that experience. I'm not necessarily like, I've been around solid axle monster trucks for a long time as far as doing like Monster Jam stuff. And one thing I always looked at all the trucks is, to me, I just wanted them to look realistic, the way that they moved and they reacted. And I think that was kind of the one key focus while we were going through the development process, that I wanted to make sure that people, like, that's like the dream, right? Is to be able to drive a real monster truck, or, and most of us will never get to do that. But if we can get that same feeling, or at least get that, try to imagine that experience with a hobby grade car like this. That to me is the overall experience, and I think that's kind of what I wanted out of this truck.
Yeah. I really agree with the weight of the truck, that like the weight that you put into it. So when I'm controlling the real truck, when I was driving it and looking at the RC car in my mind, it reacts nicely because of the weight of the truck. It doesn't overreact. You know what I mean? So if you air brake it, it levels itself out. It doesn't want to just nosedive. And when you pop the throttle, it will level back out. And so just the weight alone makes the truck. I'm so happy, because that was my one complaint with the SMT10 when I got it, is the chassis just didn't have that weight to make the suspension act proper.
And that was like the one thing I really noticed, is that to me the trucks didn't, although they worked really well, like they didn't look like a real truck when you drove them. Like, I just like the way the nose will dive when you come to stop, and then it settles and it sits in the middle of the travel, and I'm like, look how cool it looks.
Yeah.
And that was one of the things, and it was that, and okay, how do you make it work? So let's go through, make the suspension work, and then we can make it pretty. So
I think you nailed on, so many of those points. And, I'm just thankful to have been any, small part of making the video and doing the stuff with it. Honored to, be able to go down and help try and capture it. But that was one of the first things that I noticed with it, was when we were doing the freestyle with it, and they would hit a jump and they could just get it to level so easily, just let off the throttle and that thing just leveled itself out perfectly. There were greasing landings, and just, it handles so well in the air, and on the ground, like you're saying, how it squats and it dips when you hit the brakes and everything. But I just want to say thank you to you guys for letting me be a part and help make the video and things like that. Had an absolute blast talking with you guys and meeting Kevin for the first time, and hearing about him and all of his history with RC and monster trucks, and kind of what he put into this as well, from his vision and knowledge of these. And so it's been awesome. And I think that it's made me, so my channel, I've been doing a whole bunch of monster trucks on, and the main reason is, once I got this, I didn't want to play with anything else but monster trucks, because it's that much fun. Like, whether you want to race it or not, it's just, it is so much fun. The handling, the performance of it, you just get out there and you're hit again, and the smart system makes it so wonderful to charge up the batteries and get out there. But it's really got me hard and heavy back into just getting all my monster trucks out and running them. But this thing definitely, one of the things, people with price, if you were to buy, like, say, the SMT10 even at $300, just to get these aftermarket chassis, the plate chassis costs like $250 starting for most of them. Add that to the cost of what you started with, and you're already at $500. So the price point, I think, is solid, especially with the brushless electronics you get in it. Aluminum chassis, the shocks, the shock bodies, threaded shock bodies. It's a pretty phenomenal. Links front and rear, thank you. Or sway bars, not links, but you have to have links.
I will say I had to fight for those round 4-link bars, because it originally had a trailing arm drawn in it when we started. I had to fight for my 4-link bars.
Well, it's scale. It looks scale. I like it. You guys, even with the plate chassis, because what you did with the cage up top, you kind of forget about it, and because you see the side mounts coming in of the plastic, it's killer. It's just an awesome monster truck, and I've literally done thousands of backflips with mine, and I don't have any diff issues. I've landed them terribly, and I haven't cracked an axle yet. So they are durable. And somebody was asking how much send can you do with these? I think it was CCxRC. Adam said we were launching off that school bus jump, and we were sending them to the moon. So I wouldn't send it like an Arma, maybe, but maybe close. So, well, thank you guys for being a part of this. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And yeah, I think it's been cool. I hope everybody learned a little bit of something about the trucks and what go into them all.
Yeah, I would just like to say thank you guys for inviting me in on this premiere for this truck. It was a big honor, so thank you guys.
Yeah, thank all of you just for being a part of this. I mean, I think we all kind of share the same excitement for it, and it only keeps growing from here. So it's going to be fun to see how it evolves.
Well, and for me, it's a lot of validation of a lot of my time, effort, and hard work that you guys that live and breathe in this solid axle monster truck world, that you guys are super stoked about it. That just it makes all the work and long nights and headaches worth it. So
yeah. Well, cool. Well, thank everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you next time. Awesome job with this, Losi.